How many how many of you written the program for the loops or conditionals we have discussed in the yesterday's class? Or how many of you guys are new today? New. Okay. So someone has written and other one and everyone else. No one has written the program for yesterday class. Okay. Written new today. So until now we have done something like we have learned about the basics of Java, variables, how we use variables, and we have LMS is not accessible. You can contact the team directly. Munmun Pradhan. Okay. So anyone have written the program for the loops or done the patterns program by themselves? Okay. So uh, for the program until now we doesn't have done that much difficult programs till now. We have done simply like simple if else programs, simple conditional programs using switch case, and we also done some programs using the for loops like pattern programs. And you can do practice multiple programs in from multiple places, like you can also use Rango test. There is also some practice questions are there. You can use that. You can use JFGU, or you can use lead code as well. So there are multiple platforms where you can do your practice for the Java programs. If anyone have didn't install the Java in their system or having some problems, they can directly use some online platforms to practice as well. There are multiple platforms to practice online. Correct. So can anyone tell me what is a loop? Why we use loop?
To perform iteration again and again.
To perform iterations again and again. Correct. We have to use loop to remove the repetitive code again and again in our program. So we use loops there. Uh, and what is the scanner?
To take input from the user.
We take input using scanner. Correct. Difference between while and loop, while and for loop. Why we use while loop when we have the for loop?
We use for loop when we know the number of condition, and while loop when we know the
for given the range.
So when we use the for loop, when we use for loop, when we have the finite number of iterations, or we know how many times we have to repeat this code, correct? So then we will use for loop. But some conditions are like when we do not know, we don't know how many times we have to iterate. So at that time we use for loop, while loop, correct? So when we doesn't know how many times we have to iterate, we use while loop. And if iteration is known, we use for loop. If iteration is known, then can also be used for loop, while loop as well. But sometimes the conditions are like when we doesn't know how many times we have to iterate or how many times we have to run this code. So then we use while loop there, correct? And why we use do while loop? We have another loop known as do while loop. Why we use do while loop?
when we want that our loops run at least once.
Correct. So when we have to run our loop at least once for any or every each and every condition. So we use do while loop there. Correct. And can anyone tell difference between if and switch? We have done in the previous class. If and switch, if else or switch. What is the difference between them?
Here for multiple condition we use switch, and for single condition we use else.
Correct. So when we have to perform a single condition, we use switch case, and when we have to perform the multiple conditions, then we use if else. So these are the things we have done in previous classes. And after that, how many of you have written programs where everything is inside main? Like until now, we are writing each and every code inside the main function, correct? Why we are writing it inside the main function? What is the main function here in Java?
So that we don't have to build object and it run automatically.
Basically, main function is the entry point for our program. Each and every program needs an entry point to execute our code. So in Java we have main program, which is work as a main entry point for our program, correct? So main is a function. What are the functions? Functions, methods. What are the methods? Currently what we are doing, we are writing like if I share my screen, we will see. Currently what we are doing, we are writing each and every code inside the main function, right? We are writing each and every line of our code inside the main function. So this is not a standard method to write any program. This is not a standard procedure we follow in the industry, or in clean code we doesn't write each and everything inside our main function, correct? Why we doesn't write our each and every code inside the main function? There are multiple things, but why we cannot write our each and every function inside the main function? Correct. Maintainability, readability. If we write each and every code inside our main function, it will become huge. There we are writing some we are writing a few lines of code there, but when our code has thousands of lines, then what will happen? It will become messy, and uh, it will not be possible to read that program. So maintain that code, we use multiple functions or methods uh, to increase our readability of our program. My screen is shared now. Hello, my screen is visible.
Yes,
Yes, yes,
black,
it is visible.
black.
Okay. So here we are writing our each and every line of code in the main function, correct? But for this much of lines, it is pretty unreadable right now, because we have to scroll and scroll and scroll, and each and everything is like a mess right now, correct? What if we have to write this code? uh, what if we have to print nickel multiple times? What we can do? If we have to write this code again and again, what we have to do? What we can do? Simply we can use a for loop, correct? We can use loop as well, but there is another method we can use to print this thing whenever we want, correct? So we don't have to write this line each and every time. We can use methods. So what is the method? Why method? Like if we write a void uh, welcome. For now we will write a welcome program, and we write it here and remove this whole thing. So here I can write welcome. correct? If I have to call this, what is this? This is void. Why void? What is the meaning of void here? It has the return type of void currently, so it doesn't return anything. If we pass the void here before the function, what will happen? It doesn't return anything. And this is, what is this? This is our function name, correct? So this is the function name, and this is the return type of that function. So when we use void return type, it will not return anything. If we put here int, boolean, or float, double, then it should have returned that value, correct? If we put there int, then what will happen? It is showing us error because we have provided the return type int. So we have to return here any integer, then it will work. If we have provided here boolean, what will happen? We have to return the true or false here, correct? So this is the, this is the thing we use to define our function, that this function return this type of integer, or this type of value. It can be integer, it can be boolean, it can be any data type, correct? So that's how we can write our functions here. So for currently we can make it void and remove this return. So it became our simplest welcome program, what we have written previously, correct? So for now, if we remove this thing and put the, what is this? What we are doing here? We have to make it public static as well. Why? Why we have to make the public static? What is the use of public here? What is the use of public here? Why we have to write the public here?
It is an access modifier so that other
It
classes
is an
also
access
see.
modifier. If we doesn't write the public here, so uh, we have written the public here, so we can use it anywhere in our class or outside the class. We can also use this method here as well. If we write a welcome here, we have to import it first. Import static method, correct? So this method is coming from the day 4 class. So we can use this welcome method inside our main class as well. So why we can use it here? Because we have declared it as a public class, public method, correct? Because this method is public, so we can use it outside of our day 4 class as well. And why we use static? Because using the static keyword, we can access it without creating any object of it. Or we can, inside our static class or static method, we can only use the static methods. We can only use static methods inside our static method. So because this method is a static method here, so to use this method we have to declare it static as well. If we remove it, it will give us error. What is the error? Non-static method welcome cannot be referenced from a static context. So this static void main is a static method right now. So if we try to use welcome method which is not static right now, we cannot import it or we cannot use it inside our static method, correct? So to use it, we have to define it static as well. Inside a static method, we can only use static methods. So this is a main method, and to use this method, we have to define it as a static as well. So if we run this program, what will happen? if we run this program, it will print welcome Nikhil. After that, we can call it multiple times. If we have to print it 3 times, 4 times, or any of the time we can print it like welcome, 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 and then we run it. What will happen? It print each time welcome Nikhil. So what will happen here? Can we improve this? This is our normal method. We can improve it using the loop, correct? So inside loop, we just don't have to write this whole line. We just we can do it like a welcome. We can call this welcome inside our loop, correct? So that's how we can create it. uh, this is our first function. Now we have created our first function beside the main method, or we can call it as a method as well. It is a function or method. So this is the return type. But what will happen if we are welcoming Nikhil every time? What happen? uh, what we have to do if we have to welcome the, what we have to do if we have to welcome the Aman here? What we have to do? We have to change here Aman each and every time. Then any other person name is, uh, if we have to change it from the like Aman to any other name, what will happen? We have to rewrite it again and again. So what we are doing, we are what it is creating redundant, what it is creating, we are repeating our lines, or we have to modify our code is again and again, correct? So to remove this, we can use arguments or parameters, correct? To remove this redundancy, we can use parameters or arguments here. So what will be the parameter or argument here? We can use like string or name. If we pass the string name here, pass the name here as well. So for fun, I have written the Aman. For second one, I have written the Nikhil. Then Tarun. Then Sakshi. So when then what we will have to do? We run this program. What will happen? If we run this program, what will happen? Currently, it is returning amount because we didn't have to we do not have change here. If we want to change it here, what we have to do? We just write it like a name here. We write it like this: welcome and name. So what it will print? Welcome Aman, welcome Nikhil, welcome Tarun, welcome Sakshi. Correct? So that's how we can pass parameters inside our methods. Inside our method, if we want to pass the parameter, it can be any data type. It can be like if we have to print it as a integer as well, or we have to pass the integer, we have to pass boolean, any kind of data type we can pass inside our parameters. So these are the methods we can use. And for real example, like we can see Instagram. In Instagram, we have login, upload post, like post, comment, correct? We They are not writing each and every time the code whenever they need. They are creating a method for the login. They are creating a method for upload post. They are creating a method or function for the like post. They are creating the method for the comments section. So whenever someone calls that method, it will just return the value of that method, which is uh, calculated inside the code. So for the like, if we like the post, it will do work inside the like when we click on the like button, what it will do, it fetch the post id, it will fetch the user id as well, and it put that user id and post id in the like database. So it will update the like for that post as well. So this is the normal syntax for our methods. And what we can do, if we have to write the function, we can write any kind of function like say hello. We can create any kind of function, say hello, or we have to create a function like say bye and so college. There can be any kind of function we can create inside our java. So inside in any programming language we can create functions like say hello, say bye, so college. These are the some examples of functions, correct? We can create according to our need. So we can enter the parameters inside our function. It can be called as a variable in method or arguments, correct? So these are the something we have done. So can anyone tell me how we can write a function, or we can do it like question, write a function to add two numbers. How we can write a function to add two numbers? What we have to do here to write a function to add two numbers? What we can do?
int add, and we have to pass two arguments, int a and int b, and then we have a plus b and store a
Correct.
method for it.
So what we have to do? We have to create a function static. We can write integer as well, sum, and here we will pass int a comma int b. We can pass multiple arguments inside our function, and what we have to do, return a plus b, correct? So what it will return, it will return sum of those numbers a and b. So when we do it like this, what we can do, we can simply system dot out sum of 2 and 8. So what it will do, it will just return us the, what this sum will do, it returns us the sum of 2 and 8. And what system dot out dot println do, it just print that sum. We can store it inside some variable as well, int answer equal to sum 2 comma 8. So and then we can directly print that answer as well. So it will work same. So we can write it in both ways. We can directly write the sum function inside our println function, and we can also store it inside a integer variable. So there can be an integer variable. But what happen if we try to do, what will happen here? We are trying to return the float type here, but we didn't define this answer as float. So it will giving us error. If we put it as a float, then it will work fine. Here we are in sum. What is happening here, like we are passing the arguments integer a, integer b, but our return type is float, and answer is also have the type of float, but it is not giving any error. But before, when we have written it as a integer, what will happening here, why it is giving the error? Required type integer and provided float. Why we are getting error when we have written the int here And why we are not getting any error when we have write the float? Because return type is float, correct? But if we have done the integer here and we didn't change it from the float, then why it is not giving error? Currently our answer is float type, correct? And our function sum returning int. Why we are not getting any error here? Because float is the bigger data type than integer. Float is a bigger data type than integer. It has more memory space than integer, so it can store integer value. We can store integer value inside float, correct? So it can be called as automatic casting as well. So our integer value is automatically casted inside into the float value. So it is not giving any error right now. It will work fine, correct? It is printing the float value here. That's how we can create functions, or we can also solve some problems like we have written here. And now if we write a function, can anyone tell how we can calculate factorial of n numbers? How we can calculate factorial of n numbers for loop or recursion, correct? So till now we have learned about the loop. As so we can do int fact int n, then we have to write the function to return the factorial of n numbers, correct? So what we can do, we just simply write a for loop int I equal to 1, or here we also have to return the we can write answer as 1. And after that what we can do, I is less than equal to n I plus plus. Then what we can do, we just simply answer into equal to I, and after that we can return answer. We will pass factorial and we can simply write it 3, and then we can run it. So what we will get, 6, which is factorial of 3. If we pass the 5 here, what will happen? It will give us the factorial of 5. What is happening here? What we are doing here, we are just written a function named as fact, which have the return type of integer. We have declared our answer as equal to 1, and what we are doing, integer I equal to 1, I is less than equal to n, and I plus plus. We are running a loop from 1 to n, and after that what we are doing, we are multiplying I into the answer. So what we are doing here, we are simply doing, currently answer is 1, we are multiplying from 1, multiplying 2, multiplying 3, multiplying 4, multiplying 5. So which will give us the factorial of n numbers. Currently n has 5 value, so it is doing this thing, and we are getting the answer as factorial of n, correct? Can anyone tell me about we written a function and inside the function we are using curly braces. Here in for loop also we are using curly braces. What are these braces? Why we are using it? Scope, correct? If we have to write it like this, it will work fine, correct? If we write it like this, it will work fine. Our for loop work fine here. If we didn't apply the brackets here, it will work fine, correct? If we run it, it is giving us answer as 120 as before, same before. Then what is the use of curly braces here? To write the program, like if we have multi-line code here, we cannot write directly without scope. If we try to write our code without scope inside for loop, it will not execute another line after the uh, first line. If we are not using these scope, it will not run any line beyond this. If we have here answer plus 1, answer plus equal to 1, and we do not you and we are not using these scope, what will happen? It doesn't read this line inside our for loop. To make, or we have to write a multi-line code, we use scopes here. So for example, what we can use, uh, currently, for example, we can use a home. We have a home, right? We have a house, and each our in our house we have different rooms. In those rooms we have different things, or we have different scopes in each room. In one room we have bed, in room one room we have sofa. So this sofa is belong to that room only, correct? And that bed is belong to second room only. So something like our scope also work like this. If we have a room and inside that room we have a sofa, then that sofa belongs to that room only. So this code is belong to this for loop only here. That's how our scope works. Each room has different things. Variables also have different scope. So if we create a variable here named as integer k, can we access it outside of this for loop? If we try to print it as k, what will happen? It gives us error, correct? Why? Because this k only belongs to this for loop, but we can access answer here easily. We can access this answer here. Why? Because it is inside this global scope of that function. It is inside this function scope, and this for loop exists inside our function. So we can use this answer inside our for loop as well, correct? uh, for the scope, like if we create a integer k, if we create integer k inside this for loop, if we create this integer k inside this for loop, we cannot access this k outside of this for loop, because uh, scope for this k is for loop. uh, Scope of this k is inside for loop. So when we try to access that k variable outside of our for loop, it will not be accessible. But this for loop comes inside our fact function, correct? This this key for loop is comes inside our fact function. So this variable has the scope of fact, answer variable is coming inside our fact function. So we can access anywhere inside that function because it is on the top of that function. So we can directly use this answer inside our for loop as well. We can use this answer outside of this for loop, and but we cannot access that answer here. If we try to access this, okay, it is giving us error here. Correct? Why? Because uh, this answer is not declared at, and this answer is not accessible outside the fact function. So it has scope only for this fact function. This answer has the scope for only inside. We can access this answer inside only fact function only. Correct? Similarly, this k has the scope for this for loop, so we cannot access this k outside of this for loop. Or we can say this k is a local variable. This k is local variable for this for loop, and local variable for this for loop, and answer is local variable for fact function here. But we can access this answer inside our for loop, outside of this for loop, but only inside this fact function. Correct? So that's how scope works. Or we can say which variable disappears after the method finishes. When our method finishes, these variables are disappears. We cannot access these variables outside of this function here. So these are the local variables for this function only. So for it, we can write a program, or we can create some programs. Question one. Mm, Write a program to return the square of a number. So how can we write a program to return the square of a number? We just what we have to do? We have to create a function named as static int a square, and inside that square we have to pass the number. And what we can do? We just return num into num, and we get the square of that function. Correct? And when we if we try to get the square of any number, what we have to do? Square, and inside it what we provide? Any value. So when we run it, what we get? Okay, what we get? 25. Correct? When we pass the number as 5 inside our square function, what we get? 25. If we put here 10, we will get 100. So these are the some kind of examples you can use to create a function and use it inside your code. So whenever you need a square in your program, you will not writing the code line by line again and again. Eh, Maybe our that function have multiple operations. We have to write 100 lines of code for that function. So if we are trying to write that program in anywhere in our code, or we need repetitively use that code, what we have to do, we just have to call that function. Correct? So it become easy to maintain our code. We doesn't have to write the code again and again for these things. Or there is a, we can write a question like inside our class day 4, outside the main class, we will declare some static int x equal to 10. Okay, and inside our main we have written the int y equal to 20. Inside our main I have written the int y equal to 20, and outside of our main we have written the int x equal to 10. Print x. What will be the answer for this program? If we run this, what will be the output? We have defined it, we have defined this x outside of our main function, and we are accessing inside our main function directly inside our system.println. What will happen here if we run this program? 10 and 20. If we try to run this program, it uh, it print us 10 and 20. Correct? So can anyone tell which variable is local? Which is the local variable for our main function? Y. Correct? And which is the static variable for our program? X. Correct? So these are the two different things. We are providing this x as a global axis for whole day 4 class, but this y is only accessible inside this main function. Correct? So when we declared uh, this x inside our day 4 scope, inside our day 4 class scope, it can be accessible inside each and every function of our day 4. And there is a question we can do: write a program to check a string is palindrome or not. Can any palindrome difficult हो जाएगा थोड़ा. We can sum of, write a program to sum of n digit. What we have to do to write a program to sum of n digit? What we have to do? What we have to check or write a program to sum of n digit number? What we have to do here? We can use loop int sum n. We have to write it as static as well, int sum n, and inside it we have to write the int n, and after that what we have to do, int sum equal to 0. Correct? We are defining a local variable named as sum, and assigning a value of 0. Then what we have to do, for loop int I equal to 0, I less than equal to n, I plus plus, and after that sum plus equal to I, correct? So if we write to, if we try to print it, we just have to write, and we will run it. So it will give us output of 15. 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Correct? So what we are doing here, we are defining a variable of sum. After that, we are just providing a loop here. Inside this loop, we are running it from 0 to n, and we are summing each and every value into our sum variable. And we are in the end, what we are doing, we are just simply returning the sum. So that's how we can write a program for the sum n number of sum. Is it clear? So we have, wait, so we have some question. We can practice some questions as well, like question like write a program to check given number is even or not. So can anyone write the program to check given number is even or not? Can we write it?
Sir,
Can
in
we write
today
it?
test, I write all these programs, same program, sir. टेस्ट तो हो गया वो पहले.
Okay. So how we can write it?
Sir, we have to modulus it by 2. If the number is divided by 2, then we increase the count.
Correct. We directly not we have to increase the count. We just have to check this number is even or not. So what we can do, we simply create a boolean function of is even, and here we can provide the number, and we will return n modulus 2 equal to 0. So what it will do, it will give us the value of true or false, correct? Why it will give us the true value
True.
or false value? Because we are
Even,
using the
even.
double equal to operator here. So if we do is even 5, what it will return? False, correct? And if we write it 6 here, what will happen? It will give just the true. So that's how we can write a simple program to check our number is even or not. Or We can write a program it will be simple like write a program to calculate area of rectangle. Simple mathematical program we can write using a function. What we can write here? Write a program to calculate area of rectangle. Static int, and inside it we can write a area program. Here what we have to provide, or instead of length we can use double here, comma, double bread, and here we can also return the double value, and inside it we simply return length into bread. Correct? So that's how we can create a function to calculate the area of rectangle 7.5 or 7.6 comma 6.9. So what it will do, it will give us the area of that rectangle. If we write it like this, it will give us the area for that rectangle. Correct? So that's how we can return any type of variable like boolean, double, or float, or integer. So there can be any kind of return type we can use inside our function. So in the last class, we have created a program to create a calculator. Correct? In last program, we have created a program to create a calculator. We can use functions as well to create that calculator inside our switch case or if else. So these are the some basic usage of functions we can use, how we can use it function, and what is the scope, and we there is a homework problem you can do, like everyone can create a function to convert temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Correct? You can directly create a function to convert the Celsius to Fahrenheit. You have to write a program to convert our Celsius to Fahrenheit. You can use simply use the function or formula for that, and create a function where we can convert our Celsius to Fahrenheit. And you can also create it like you can also write the program to convert it like from Fahrenheit to Celsius. These are the two programs you can as a homework problem. You can create those two functions on your own. You can just put the simple formulas of converting the Celsius to Fahrenheit or Fahrenheit to Celsius inside that function. So that's all for today's class. Hello. Yeah, we can write it like this. Okay, I have to upload the recording as well. So they are preparing those recording, I think. By today they will upload it and share the link. Okay, that's all for the today's class. We will continue from tomorrow. Okay, Akansha, we will check why it is not taking your answers.
सर प्रॉब्लम ये हो रही है, हम कोडिंग क्वेश्चन सबमिट कर रहे हैं लेकिन वो आंसर अब आंसर्ड भी दिखा रहा है लेकिन मार्क्स नहीं मिल रहे हैं हमें उसके.
Okay, I think Venkota's team is working on that issue. When it is fixed, they will inform you. We have raised the issues for submitting the answer, but not mark is not getting there. So they are working on it. Hopefully, it will not in the tomorrow's assessment.